The night sky over Earth looked calm, peaceful even. Cities glittered like tiny stars, and people moved through their lives without any thought of what was coming. Somewhere far beyond, in the dark emptiness of space, something massive was approaching. It moved silently, almost invisible, yet it carried a presence so powerful that the stars themselves seemed to tremble. On the International Space Observatory, Dr. Emily Harris stared at her monitor. The signals had appeared hours ago, strange energy readings unlike anything humanity had ever seen. This doesn't make sense, she whispered, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. The numbers were rising, faster and faster, as if something was coming straight for Earth. Her assistant, a young scientist named Leo, looked over her shoulder. Could it be a meteor? He asked, hope in his voice. Emily shook her head. No. Meteors don't emit energy like this. This is intelligent. It's watching us. Down on Earth, life went on. In the streets of New York, people laughed under neon lights. Children played in parks, parents hurried home from work. Nobody noticed the satellites twitching in orbit, the subtle warning signs that something immense was closing in. And yet, if anyone had looked up, they might have seen it, a shadow moving in the darkness above the planet. But most didn't, because the world was blind to what was coming. Emily and Leo tried to warn the authorities. Emergency calls went out to military leaders, government offices, anyone who could act. But by the time they reached anyone who could understand, it was too late. The energy readings spiked. And then, without warning, it began. Across the skies, a shape appeared. At first, it was just a blur, barely visible against the black of space. Then it became clear. Ships, countless ships, moving with terrifying precision. Their surfaces shimmered with strange metals that reflected the moonlight like fire. They moved as one, almost alive, and they were coming straight for Earth. Panic spread faster than lightning. Cities turned to chaos. Alarms screamed, people ran in every direction, and pilots scrambled their jets. But the jets were no match. The alien ships moved faster, more agile than anything humans had ever built. Energy beams shot down from the sky, destroying buildings, bridges, and anything that tried to fight back. The ground shook. Fires erupted. The screams of terrified people echoed across the cities. And far away, in a distant council chamber among the stars, the Galactic Council watched in silence. They had seen civilizations rise and fall, planets destroyed and rebuilt. But what they saw on Earth left them stunned. This planet, one of them murmured, his voice trembling. I have never felt such courage and fragility at the same time. Another member, tall and pale, shook her head. They are not ready. They should not survive this. Back on Earth, Emily and Leo worked desperately, trying to understand the alien technology. Satellites had captured images, but nothing made sense. The ships were enormous, faster than light in some moments, and their weapons could melt steel like wax. Yet, despite all this, Emily refused to give up hope. We can't just watch. We have to do something. Anything. Leo nodded, fear written across his face, but he followed her lead. On the streets, ordinary people became heroes. A firefighter pulled children from a collapsing school. A taxi driver guided lost passengers through burning roads. Soldiers tried to mount a defense, but their guns barely scratched the alien hulls. Still, every small act mattered. Every life saved, every move against the invaders was a spark of hope. And then came the first real test. One of the largest alien ships hovered above New York, its shadow covering the city like a dark cloud. Emily watched from her lab as beams of energy cut through buildings. The city was in flames. Leo turned pale. We can't stop them, he whispered. Emily clenched her fists. Not like this. But we can learn. We can survive. Somehow, amidst the chaos, people kept fighting. Drones were sent into the sky, jets launched into the dark. Even children, hiding in basements, peered through cracked windows, feeling a mix of fear and awe. The sky was no longer safe. The ground shook with the alien presence. And still, the ships moved with deadly purpose, as if Earth was nothing more than a small experiment. High above, the Galactic Council continued to watch. Their faces betrayed a mixture of horror and curiosity. "Why do they resist?" one asked. "They are so weak." And yet, the question hung in the air. For the first time in the Council's long history, they had no immediate answer. This world, tiny and fragile, was showing signs of something unusual, something they had rarely seen in the galaxy: resilience. As night turned to dawn, the alien ships began to withdraw, for now. Cities were burning, sirens blared, but humanity had survived the first wave. Emily looked at the sky, exhaustion and determination mixing on her face. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. Leo nodded. "They are coming back. We have to be ready." Somewhere, far in space, a shadow paused, observing. It was aware of the small, defiant creatures on the planet below. The Galactic Council remained silent, uneasy. And Earth, battered but alive, waited, unaware of the full scale of the war that was coming. The quiet before the storm was over. The morning sun rose over a broken city, but its light could not warm the streets. Smoke curled into the sky, mixing with the lingering darkness left by the alien attack. Emergency sirens wailed across every city. People ran through streets filled with debris, their faces pale with fear. Emily and Leo moved through the chaos, their eyes scanning every monitor and every message. The satellites were still sending data, but it was worse than they had feared. The alien fleet had returned, larger this time, and their intent was clear. They were not here for observation. They were here to destroy. From the skies above, the ships descended like a black storm. Their shadows covered entire neighborhoods, casting darkness over streets once filled with life. Then came the first beams of energy. They hit buildings with the force of earthquakes, turning concrete and steel into molten rivers. The roar of explosions mixed with the screams of terrified people. Cars were thrown into the air, streets cracked, and fires spread like wildfire. Military forces tried to respond. Jets screamed into the sky, missiles launched in desperate waves. Soldiers fired with every weapon they had, but it was useless. The alien ships moved faster than the human defenses could track, dodging attacks with terrifying precision. Energy blasts struck the ground near them, forcing soldiers to scatter. Helicopters were ripped from the sky as easily as paper. In New York, chaos reigned. People huddled in basements, stores, and subway stations, hoping to survive. A young mother, clutching her child, ran through rubble-strewn streets, ignoring the heat from the fires around her. A firefighter, ignoring the falling debris, carried an injured man to safety. In moments like these, ordinary humans became heroes. The aliens, despite their advanced technology, had not expected resistance from creatures so small, so fragile, yet so determined to survive. Above the destruction, the Galactic Council watched in stunned silence. Their chambers were filled with holograms showing the chaos below. They had studied countless worlds, seen countless civilizations destroyed, but something about Earth was different. One member, his long silver robes flowing as he paced, whispered, "They fight. Even when all hope is gone, they resist." Another shook her head. "It is madness. They are only insects to them. Yet they do not yield." Emily and Leo scrambled to analyze alien movements. "Their attacks are coordinated," Emily said, eyes wide. "Every ship knows exactly where the others are. It's like they share a single mind." Leo typed furiously. "If we can find a pattern, maybe we can survive." Emily nodded. "We have no choice." In London, Tokyo, and dozens of other cities, the same scene unfolded. Beams of alien energy carved paths of destruction through neighborhoods. The human military tried to regroup, but the losses were staggering. Tanks burned, airports were destroyed, and command centers collapsed. Governments were in chaos, struggling to issue orders as communications failed. Yet amidst the terror, there were moments of hope. Small teams of soldiers, scientists, and ordinary civilians used quick thinking to save lives. A group of engineers redirected power from a damaged city grid to create a shield over a hospital. A schoolteacher guided dozens of children through the ruins to safety. Every act of courage, every human life saved, became a small defiance against the unstoppable force above. As the alien ships hovered over the planet, one massive vessel emerged from the fleet. Its surface was covered with strange symbols that glowed with an eerie light. It paused above the Earth's largest city, its energy beams scanning the streets below. Emily watched from her lab, trembling. "This is their command ship," she said. "If it falls, the rest will follow." Leo swallowed hard. "We have to stop it." Emily shook her head. "No, we just have to survive for now. We learn. We prepare. That's all we can do." Then came the first real surprise. One of the ships fired a beam straight at the ocean, creating a massive tsunami that surged toward the coast. People screamed as the walls of water destroyed everything in their path. Yet in the chaos, emergency responders managed to guide some to higher ground. Against the alien might, humans found ways to endure. High above, the Galactic Council's silence was broken. "They survive," one whispered. "How?" Another member frowned. "They are fragile, yet they do not break. This is unusual. Very unusual." Their debates continued, but Earth remained on its own, vulnerable and battered. By evening, the alien fleet began to withdraw, retreating back into space as suddenly as they had arrived. Cities were in ruins, fires burned unchecked, and millions were injured or missing. But humanity was alive. People emerged from shelters, stunned and trembling, yet relieved. They had survived the first strike. Emily and Leo looked at the monitors, exhaustion and determination on their faces. "This is only the beginning," Emily said softly. "They will come back. And next time, it may be worse." Leo nodded. "Then we prepare. We cannot fight like this again. We need a plan." Somewhere, far in space, the alien command ship paused, its glowing surface pulsing with strange energy. It observed the humans below with interest. They had resisted, even against overwhelming power. For the first time, the invaders seemed to consider them differently. Earth had survived the first strike, but the war was just beginning. The shadow over the planet had lifted, only to return. And as night fell, the fires on Earth burned brightly, a reminder that life, no matter how fragile, could endure even the greatest storm. The world was quiet again, but the silence was heavy. Cities were broken, smoke still rising from fires, and millions of people were shaken to their core. For a moment, it seemed as if Earth itself was holding its breath. Emily and Leo worked tirelessly in their lab, scanning every signal, every reading from the alien ships. The attacks had stopped for now, but the danger was far from over. Suddenly, a strange signal appeared on their monitors. It was unlike anything they had seen before, a message not in any human language, yet somehow clear. Symbols moved across the screen, glowing and shifting. Leo frowned. "What is this? Another alien attack?" Emily shook her head. "No, this isn't from them. I think it's from someone watching us. Someone powerful." Across the galaxy, far from Earth, the Galactic Council convened. The chamber was massive, filled with alien representatives from countless worlds. They were the guardians of interstellar law, observers of civilizations, and arbiters of peace in the galaxy. Yet now, they were divided. The Council watched Earth closely, the small blue planet appearing fragile and vulnerable on their massive holoscreen. "They survived," one of them murmured, her voice echoing in the chamber. "I did not expect them to resist so much." Another shook his head. "They are insignificant. A minor world. Why should we intervene? The aliens are far more powerful than they realize." A third member, older and with pale skin that almost glowed, leaned forward. "We have never seen a species fight like this. Even when facing certain death, they do not surrender. Perhaps there is something in them we should watch." Murmurs spread across the chamber. Some council members argued, insisting that Earth's survival was irrelevant. Others were curious, questioning whether the humans could be valuable allies, or dangerous if left unchecked. Back on Earth, Emily tried to decode the signal. The symbols pulsed, forming shapes that slowly made sense. Words began to appear. We are observing. You are not alone. Prepare. Emily looked at Leo, eyes wide. It's a warning. From the Galactic Council. They are watching us. Leo's hands shook. Watching? Why? Why not help? Emily frowned. They must see the aliens as too strong. Or, they are unsure about us. We're just humans. But maybe, just maybe, they think we can survive. Governments tried to communicate with the mysterious senders, but signals were slow, incomplete, and difficult to understand. People waited for answers, for reassurance, for some hope that they were not completely alone in the universe. Yet the council remained distant, their decisions slow, deliberate, and mysterious. Emily and Leo worked through the night, analyzing the alien attack patterns. They move like a single mind, Emily said. They are intelligent, organized, unstoppable, but we survived. That counts for something. Leo nodded, though fear shadowed his face. We have to prepare. They'll come back, stronger. In the skies above, faint shadows could still be seen, the retreating alien ships, watching from afar. They did not leave because they were defeated, but because they were observing humans, learning, calculating. The humans had survived a direct strike, but the aliens were patient, intelligent, and relentless. The Galactic Council watched all of this, debating fiercely. Intervene, and we risk war with the alien force, said one representative. Do nothing, and this species may perish, or worse, they might survive, and their resilience could disrupt the balance of the galaxy. Another member shook her head. Do we really know enough about them? One world should not dictate our action. Observation is safer. Meanwhile, back on Earth, whispers of hope spread among the survivors. Stories of bravery, of ordinary humans doing extraordinary things, gave people courage. Soldiers, scientists, and civilians shared information, prepared defenses, and rebuilt communication lines. They had no guarantee of success, but for the first time, humans understood that survival was possible. Emily turned to Leo, exhaustion evident in her posture. We need more than hope. We need a plan. If the aliens return, we can't just survive, we have to fight smarter. Leo nodded slowly. We need allies. Maybe that signal is a start. Maybe someone, somewhere, is watching and waiting for us to prove ourselves. And far above, the Galactic Council's chamber remained tense. The blue planet below flickered on their screens, full of life and chaos. This species, one whispered, almost to himself. They are unpredictable. Fragile, yes, but something about them, they fight. Even when everything is lost, they fight. The council did not act. They did not intervene. But they watched, curious and unsettled. For the first time, a species had earned their attention not by power, but by sheer determination, courage, and the unwillingness to surrender. On Earth, the humans rebuilt in small ways. Fires burned out, rubble was cleared, and survivors found each other. They did not know if the aliens would return, or when. But for the first time, they felt a spark of hope, a fragile, stubborn hope, that perhaps they were not entirely alone. Night fell once more over the planet. Stars twinkled above, distant and silent. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the Galactic Council continued to observe, debating, and wondering if this small, defiant species might one day change the galaxy. For now, Earth was still standing. But the shadows of the future were long, and the next strike, inevitable and even more terrifying, was already being planned by forces far beyond human understanding. The sun rose over a battered city, but the streets were filled with determination rather than despair. Survivors moved cautiously through the ruins, helping each other, carrying the injured, and salvaging whatever they could. The alien attack had left Earth shaken, but it had also awakened something in humanity, a will to fight. Emily and Leo worked tirelessly in their lab. Using data from the first strike, they began to notice patterns in the alien attacks. The ships moved in perfect coordination, but small fluctuations in their energy pulses suggested a weakness, a flaw that had gone unnoticed. "Look at this," Emily said, pointing at the screen. "Their energy shields fluctuate every few seconds. If we can time an attack perfectly, we might damage them." Leo's eyes widened. "Are you saying we can fight back?" Emily nodded, though her face was tense. "Not yet. We can't take them down completely, but we can survive better, maybe even save lives on a larger scale. We have to be clever. We can't just rely on weapons. We have to use their weakness against them." Across the globe, humans began organizing. Military leaders and scientists formed small teams to implement strategies. Emergency communication networks connected survivors in different cities, sharing information on alien movements and safe zones. Engineers repaired power grids to maintain defensive systems, and volunteers constructed makeshift shelters. Even children and elderly people contributed, carrying messages, helping the injured, or warning others of approaching danger. The first human counterattack was small but significant. A group of scientists remotely hacked into a disabled alien probe, sending a signal that disrupted the sensors on one of the smaller ships. For a brief moment, the ship's movements became erratic, giving humans time to evacuate civilians and strike back with missiles. The results were minimal, just a scratch on the alien fleet, but it was proof humans could fight. News of the counterattack spread, giving hope to people around the world. Soldiers, inspired by the small victory, started coordinating better with civilians. Emergency teams used experimental drones to scout alien positions, while jets and naval forces tried new tactics to keep the ships from targeting populated areas. Every small success mattered, and even the smallest spark of hope seemed to infuriate the invaders above. Emily and Leo analyzed the data from the skirmish. "It's working," Emily whispered. "We are learning. We are adapting. We survived their first wave, and now we can do more." Leo nodded, but he looked at the monitor and saw something troubling. One of the alien command ships had paused, observing humans more carefully than before. "They noticed us," he said quietly. "They know we are trying something." Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council chambers, the representatives watched closely. The humans were small, fragile, and unpredictable. Some council members frowned. "They are not strong," one said, "but they think, they adapt, they resist." Another member leaned forward. "It is rare for a species to survive against such odds. Perhaps they are worthy of attention." The next strike by the aliens was imminent. Unlike before, the attacks were more targeted, but humans were prepared. Emergency defenses were in place, civilians evacuated from high-risk zones, and military units were ready to respond immediately. When the alien ships fired their energy beams, much of the population survived. Buildings were still destroyed, but lives were saved. Emily and Leo devised another daring plan. They would send drones directly into the path of one alien ship to map its energy fluctuations in real time. The data collected would help predict the exact moments to strike. "This is risky," Emily said. "One mistake, and we lose everything." Leo swallowed hard but nodded. "We have to try. We have no other choice." The drones launched, moving quickly and silently. The alien ship reacted, trying to target them, but the drone's agility allowed them to gather valuable data. Emily's fingers flew over the controls, analyzing the readings. "Got it," she said, a spark of excitement in her voice. "We can do this. We can exploit their weakness." For the first time, humans were not just surviving, they were fighting intelligently. Every move was calculated, every attack carefully timed. Civilians were saved, military units coordinated better, and even small teams of volunteers played a role in resisting the alien forces. The aliens, powerful and relentless, were beginning to recognize that Earth was not an easy target. By nightfall, the first stage of the counterattack was complete. Human losses had been heavy, but the results were clear. the alien fleet had been challenged. Some ships had been damaged, others had retreated, and humans had gained critical information for the future. Emily looked at the skyline, smoke rising from parts of the city but lights still flickering. "This is just the beginning," she said. Leo nodded. "We have shown them we are not helpless. Next time, we can do even more." High above, the alien command ship paused, analyzing humans with cold precision. They had underestimated Earth, and now they were recalculating. The Galactic Council watched, intrigued and uneasy. Humans were small, weak, and untrained, yet they were beginning to survive, and even resist. The night settled over Earth, quiet for the first time in days. But it was not peace. It was a pause, a moment to prepare for the coming storm. The humans had found hope, strategy, and courage. The aliens had found resistance where they expected none. And somewhere, in the vast darkness of space, the next battle was already taking shape. The days after the first counterattack were tense. Cities were slowly rebuilding, and survivors moved cautiously among the ruins. Every human knew that the aliens were still out there, watching, calculating. Emily and Leo worked day and night, analyzing the data from their drones and previous encounters. They were beginning to see the patterns, the logic behind the alien movements. Then came a breakthrough. A signal intercepted from the alien fleet revealed more than anyone had hoped. The message was strange, filled with symbols and pulses, but with careful decoding, Emily and Leo found its meaning. It was a record of the aliens' past battles, their strategies, and, most importantly, their intentions for Earth. "They've been fighting for centuries," Emily said, voice trembling. "Their fleets, their technology, it's all from ancient wars. They conquer planets to survive. Earth is just another target for them." Leo's eyes widened. "So this is bigger than we thought. They're not just attacking us, they are part of a war we never even knew existed." Meanwhile, the Galactic Council watched from afar, their curiosity growing. They had debated for days, weighing the risks of intervening. Some council members argued that humans were too weak, too unpredictable, and that interference might cause more harm than good. Others were fascinated. "This species," one said, "though small and fragile, shows signs of something rare. Creativity, courage, determination. They are not like other civilizations we have seen." On Earth, Emily and Leo shared their findings with a small council of military leaders and scientists. The room was tense, but hope sparked in their eyes. "If we understand them," Emily explained, "we can predict their moves. We can prepare. We can survive." Leo added, "And we might even find a way to fight back more effectively. Their technology is powerful, yes, but it is not perfect. We just need to be clever." In the shadows, the aliens continued their observations. They noticed that humans were adapting, learning, and even predicting some of their actions. For the first time, they paused in their relentless pursuit, curious about this small species that refused to give up. They began to adjust their strategies, planning a larger strike, but now with caution. Back on Earth, preparations were underway. Cities rebuilt critical defenses, scientists developed better weapons, and civilians were trained in emergency tactics. Emily led a team to design a system that could exploit the alien energy fluctuations they had discovered earlier. Every strike, every small experiment brought humans closer to understanding their enemy. Then came a moment of revelation. Using a combination of drone intelligence and intercepted signals, Emily realized something startling. The aliens had a central command structure. If humans could target this command ship, the rest of the fleet would falter. "It's risky," she warned. "But it's the only chance we have to turn the tide." Leo nodded, determination in his eyes. "We have to try. We can't wait until they destroy everything." The Galactic Council observed this development closely. "They are learning too quickly," one member said. "If they survive, if they fight, they could become a factor in the galaxy we did not predict." Another member frowned. "And if we do nothing, they might be wiped out. Perhaps it is time to consider aiding them." On Earth, small victories continued to inspire people. Civilians rescued one another from collapsed buildings. Engineers repaired communications and power lines, allowing coordination between cities. Soldiers used Emily and Leo's data to improve defensive strategies, striking alien scouts before they could report back to their command ship. Every successful action, no matter how small, was proof that humans could adapt and resist. Despite the victories, the threat remained. The alien fleet was immense, their power unmatched. Cities were still vulnerable, and millions of people were in danger. But hope had returned. Humans were no longer passive prey, they were active participants in a battle for survival. Night fell across the planet, and for a moment, the world was quiet. Stars glittered above, distant and silent, while the alien fleet hovered somewhere beyond the clouds. Emily and Leo looked at the data screens, exhausted but determined. "We've learned so much," Emily said. "And we're not done yet. We can fight back. We will fight back." Far away, the Galactic Council continued to debate. Some members were still hesitant, fearing the consequences of direct interference. Others were convinced that humans were extraordinary, their courage and ingenuity rare in the galaxy. "We cannot ignore them," one finally said. "They may be weak, but their spirit, it is strong. Perhaps it is time to watch more closely, and, maybe even guide them." And back on Earth, humanity waited. The aliens were planning, calculating, and preparing for the next strike. But humans, too, were learning, adapting, and preparing. The fragile blue planet had survived attacks that should have destroyed it. Now, for the first time, humans realized that they could shape the outcome of this war. The future was uncertain, filled with danger and darkness. But amidst the chaos, one truth remained clear: Earth would not surrender. Humans were small, fragile, and yet they fought with courage that even the galaxy's greatest powers could not ignore. The shadow of the next battle was already forming. The aliens would return. But when they did, humanity would be ready, and the Galactic Council watched, curious and wary, as Earth's defiance grew stronger with every passing day. The sky over Earth was dark, filled with strange clouds that glowed with alien energy. Cities were scarred from previous attacks, but humans were ready this time. Military forces coordinated with scientists, drones patrolled the skies, and civilians moved to safe zones. Every person knew the danger, yet a stubborn courage filled the air. Emily and Leo watched the alien fleet approach from their lab. Hundreds of ships, larger and faster than before, filled the horizon. "This is it," Emily whispered, voice trembling. "The battle begins now." Leo clenched his fists. "We've learned, we've prepared. We can do this. We have to." Above New York, the first ships descended. Their energy beams lit the sky, turning clouds into fire. Humans responded immediately. Missiles launched from the ground, drones attacked, and jets swooped through the skies, striking wherever they could. Every attack was calculated, every movement precise. Humanity had learned from the first strike. In the streets, civilians helped in small but vital ways. Engineers guided drones, rescuers pulled people from rubble, and ordinary citizens moved supplies and warnings. Heroism was everywhere, even in the smallest acts: a man helping an injured stranger, a child warning neighbors of approaching danger, a teacher leading students to safety. Emily and Leo monitored the alien command ship. Its glowing surface pulsed with energy, and for the first time, humans realized how critical it was. "If we can target that ship," Emily said, "the rest will falter. Everything depends on this." Leo nodded. "Then we do it. Let's take them down." Using the data they had gathered, humans executed their plan. Drones darted toward the alien command ship, moving through energy fields with precision. Missiles followed, timed to strike at moments when the ship's shields fluctuated. It was risky, one miscalculation could destroy everything, but there was no other choice. The battle intensified. Alien ships retaliated, firing energy beams that tore through buildings and streets. Jets were destroyed, drones exploded, and explosions lit the night sky like fireworks of destruction. But humans kept fighting, using strategy, intelligence, and sheer courage to survive. Every success, no matter how small, was a victory against impossible odds. In London, soldiers coordinated strikes on alien scouts while engineers repaired damaged communication towers. In Tokyo, civilians guided survivors to shelters while scientists monitored alien patterns and shared data with military units. Across the globe, humans were united, fighting together against a threat far greater than anything they had faced before. The alien command ship reacted, firing powerful beams at the drones. One by one, they were destroyed, but Emily and Leo had prepared backup systems. More drones launched, more missiles fired, and slowly, the command ship began to falter. Sparks of energy burst from its surface as its shields weakened. Humans cheered, but the fight was far from over. High above, the Galactic Council watched in awe. "They are extraordinary," one member whispered. "They are fragile, yes, but they fight with intelligence and courage unlike anything we have seen." Another nodded. "This is not a minor species. If they survive, they may change the balance of power in the galaxy." On Earth, small victories inspired even greater acts of bravery. A group of firefighters and soldiers worked together to redirect alien energy blasts away from civilian zones. Civilians helped rescue those trapped in burning buildings. Ordinary humans were performing extraordinary deeds, showing courage that the aliens could not predict or understand. Finally, the alien command ship shuddered, its massive hull crackling with energy. Missiles struck at precise moments, drones attacked in waves, and human ingenuity won over sheer power. The ship faltered and then retreated, signaling a temporary withdrawal of the alien fleet. Cheers erupted across the planet. Humanity had survived the first massive battle. Emily and Leo watched the screens, exhausted but relieved. "We did it," Emily whispered. "We survived, and we fought back." Leo nodded. "And we learned. Next time, we can be even stronger." The Galactic Council remained silent for a moment, contemplating what they had witnessed. Humans, small and fragile, had survived against overwhelming odds. They had fought strategically, courageously, and with a unity that few species ever displayed. "They are remarkable," one member finally said. "We must watch them closely. Perhaps, guide them in the future." But even as humans celebrated, the threat was not gone. The alien fleet had retreated, but it was regrouping, learning from every failure. Earth had won this battle, but the war was far from over. Cities were damaged, millions were injured or missing, and humanity was exhausted. Night fell over the planet, but this night was different. There was hope now. Humans had proven they could fight, adapt, and survive. They had turned fear into courage, chaos into strategy, and weakness into strength. And somewhere in the dark reaches of space, the aliens were recalculating, preparing for the next wave. The battle had ended, but the war continued. And the Galactic Council watched, intrigued and wary, as Earth's small, fragile species began to show the strength that would one day echo across the galaxy. The sun rose over Earth, painting the skies in soft shades of gold and pink. Cities were scarred, smoke still rising from burned-out buildings, and streets filled with rubble. But humanity had survived. For the first time, in countless generations, humans realized something incredible. They had fought a force beyond comprehension, and they had endured. Emily and Leo walked through the streets of New York, surveying the damage. People moved cautiously around collapsed buildings, helping each other, carrying supplies, and comforting the injured. There was exhaustion in every face, but also a spark of hope. "We did it," Emily said softly. "We survived. And we fought back." Leo nodded. "Yes, but it's not over. The aliens will return. We have to be ready." Across the globe, similar scenes played out. In London, Tokyo, and countless other cities, survivors were rebuilding, clearing rubble, and reconnecting communication networks. Scientists and military leaders met to plan future defenses, using every piece of data collected from the alien encounters. Humanity was no longer passive. They were aware of the galaxy beyond their planet, aware of the dangers, and aware of their potential to resist. Far above, the Galactic Council observed. Their chambers were quiet, filled with holographic displays of Earth and its resilient inhabitants. "They have endured," one council member whispered. "They are fragile, yes, but extraordinary. Few species show such courage, ingenuity, and determination in the face of annihilation." Another nodded. "They have potential. If nurtured, they may one day be a force in the galaxy. Not just survivors, but leaders in their own right." For the first time, the Council considered offering guidance to humanity. Not interference, but mentorship, an opportunity to help the species grow, to prepare them for a galaxy full of dangers far greater than the aliens who had attacked Earth. Yet some members remained cautious. "We must not act too soon," one warned. "They must prove themselves capable of understanding and responsibility. They must choose to rise on their own." Back on Earth, Emily and Leo worked tirelessly. They rebuilt communication systems, strengthened defenses, and trained new teams to understand and respond to alien technology. Humanity had gained confidence, knowing that they could fight back, adapt, and survive. Ordinary citizens, scientists, and soldiers had all become part of something greater, a unified force capable of resisting the impossible. Even as humans celebrated survival, the threat had not vanished. The alien fleet had retreated, but it was regrouping, repairing, and learning from its mistakes. They would return, stronger and more cautious. Emily knew this, and she prepared humanity for the future. "We've proven we are not helpless," she said. "Next time, we fight smarter, faster, and stronger. We will not just survive, we will win." Children who had witnessed the attacks began to understand courage in a way no history book could teach. Families rebuilt their lives, but the memory of the invasion stayed alive, teaching resilience, hope, and unity. Humanity had faced destruction, and though the wounds were deep, their spirit was unbroken. The Galactic Council continued to watch. They saw Earth not as a small, fragile planet, but as a world full of potential. For the first time, some members felt a quiet hope for the species below. "Perhaps this species will change the galaxy," one whispered. "Perhaps they will rise beyond what we expect." As night fell, the skies were clear. Stars glittered far above, distant and silent, while the alien fleet remained somewhere in the shadows of space, planning, calculating, and observing. Earth was safe for now, but the war was not over. Humanity had survived the first strikes and had proven itself capable of resisting overwhelming power. Emily stood on a rooftop, looking at the horizon, her face tired but determined. Leo joined her. "They'll be back," he said. "We need to stay ready." Emily nodded. "Yes. But we're stronger now. We've learned. We've fought. And next time, we won't just survive, we'll defend our home with everything we have." Somewhere far beyond the stars, the Galactic Council continued to debate. They were no longer indifferent. Earth had earned their attention. Humans were fragile, yet courageous, weak yet clever, ordinary yet extraordinary. A small species had shown a strength that could ripple across the galaxy, and the Council knew it. And on Earth, life slowly returned to normal. Fires were extinguished, cities rebuilt, families reunited. But a quiet tension remained, a memory of the darkness that had threatened to destroy everything. Humanity had survived because of courage, ingenuity, and unity, but the future was uncertain, full of threats yet unseen. The night sky above was calm, but the shadow of the future stretched long and dark. The aliens would return. The Galactic Council would continue to watch. And humanity, small and fragile but unbroken, prepared for the battles yet to come. Earth had survived. And in that survival, a spark was lit, a spark that would one day burn across the galaxy.